monster friends.
This could be the end of civilization.
Yeah, probably. So join your hosts, Cass and Slick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're listening to the podcast. From Odo Island. Welcome to the podcast from Odo Island. Follow us on Twitter at Odo Island Pod. I am Cass, and with me is a man who pardons you. Slick, how you doing?
Oh, hanging out. Patiently waiting for the Celtics game.
Down the street. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
at the time of this recording, either the Celtics are world champions or, they overachieved the season, but, gave it up in the gave it up in the finals.
not the Eastern Conference Finals this time.
No.
They made it all the way to the finals to give it up.
They did. But, again, the goal for this season, if you recall during preseason, the goal for the Celtics this year was just to get to the second round of the playoffs.
No.
So it's all gravy at this point. This is supposed to be a lost year.
Your first or your last. Celtics. Okay, we're up 2-1. And then all of a sudden they just coughed up 2 games real quick.
So there's at least hopefully 2 more games to play at the time of this recording. So we'll see. We'll see. Good. Fortunately, we're doing this Thursday before the game, so we're a little amped up.
You're decked out in your Celtics hat and your Celtics shirt and your Bulls shorts.
On bootleg Bulls shorts, I guess.
It's a nice visual aid for you all. So this week for our main subject, we did the 2010 Clash of the Titans. Before we go into that, any big news this week?
Oh, my wife and I started playing pickleball. Oh, Godzilla news. Is there much the way of news? There's I guess there's a couple like little tidbits. The Kong anime got a little promotional image. Did you see that?
No.
It was just like I don't remember like where it was used. I think it was like used in kind of like a trade magazine or something. And,
is it the handprint on the beach? Okay, yeah. I did see that.
Just
actually.
enough to say it's still alive. It's coming. It looks like it's going to take place in the 30s or the 40s. It sounds like. So there's that. There's been some leaked, mysterious schedules of a unannounced Toho Kaiju movie is starting to film in the next couple months. Nobody knows what that is, but is Toho doing an original Kaiju movie, or are they just doing another Godzilla movie? So I guess we'll see how that goes. We got some Super 7 reveals.
I did see the Super 7 reveals. You showed me that. As for the movie, it's got to be a Godzilla movie. Like, come on.
Yeah, of course.
Come on.
Of course.
Don't tell me I was there. It's been 6 years now, so it'd be 7 by the time that movie comes out.
Yeah.
So, come on.
So I don't know the ins and outs, but of exactly how the contract worked, but it was like we only got Shin Godzilla because there was like a weird contractual loophole. Like ultimately, it was like Toho was not allowed to make a live action Godzilla movie while Legendary was doing it, but I think that was only through Godzilla vs. Kong, and so they obviously have signed some sort of new deal if we're getting that TV show next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't like totally in place like after like 2014, so like that's how like Shin Godzilla like slipped in there. But yeah, it sounds like they're back to live action movies. So
I hope so. I think we've earned another Toho movie at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get Shin Ultraman stateside at some point. That'll be Shin Ultraman. Not supposedly did very well.
Shin Godzilla, didn't it?
I don't remember if it surpassed it. It seemed like it was always kind of treading right below Shin Godzilla.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it ultimately in the end did surpass it, but I remember like the first couple of weeks it was all kind of...
I thought someone tweeted about it surpassing it, and that's what I saw, so I guess I'm wrong.
It's like right on... it's either way, it's like right on par with Shin Godzilla, which was a big movie, and
Shin
Ultraman was a big movie, so... And Fortunately, that movie has not been spoiled for me, which is great.
Me neither.
But it sounds like it's supposed to be a really good movie.
I've seen like little snippets of like the special effects and fight scenes and stuff, and it looks pretty modern looking, but it looks like they still used like
they use all the old show sound effects.
Yeah, not only that, but the aesthetic too looks very similar.
Yeah,
it's just like sort of spoofed up. You know?
Yeah, I like how very true to form, and like the little clips, the official clips that have been put out. All the kaiju have Varan's roar, just like they did in the 60s.
I did like how they made one of the monsters look like Shin Godzilla.
Yeah,
it looked
Gomes.
like the original Godzilla.
Yeah, so Gomes was based off of the 64 Godzilla suit, and then that was a good touch, making him look like Godzilla again.
I apologize too. I'm a super Ultra man. Like, I never grew up with it. Never really watched. I've seen probably 5 episodes.
Yeah,
of the show. What I've seen, I've liked, but
we'll cover it.
Yeah, we'll
cover it. I'm sure we'll have to do another poll after this. Maybe our fans will vote for Ultraman.
Maybe.
Put it on the poll. So there's all that. Yeah, we got the Super 7 figures. The reaction line, the cool retro. They try to look like old Kenner style figures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board.
Those look good. They're just a little pricey for how big they are. That's my only thing.
Yeah, they're $18 for like 3.5-inch figures.
A little overpriced.
I don't know. I'm fine with it, but because I just feel like it's like this is just the way it is. But the only complaint I had from like what I saw was that the Godzilla 54 figure and the like Lost Volcano Monsters figure, the Godzilla 57 one, did not look drastically too much different to me.
Yeah.
The head mold looked a little bit different. Then it almost looked like they used the same body, but I did appreciate that.
They look like they might have been painted different though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like one of them seemed a little bit more yellow.
Yeah. But I do appreciate too. The 54 one has 4 toes, and Volcano Monsters has 3 toes.
They went out of their way to point. I did see that post.
Yeah. So, which always struck me as odd because Godzilla still had 4 toes in Gigantus the Fire Monster. So so you're going to mix in scenes of the original suit and the new suit with a different amount of toes, but Godzilla did not officially go down to 3 toes till King Kong versus Godzilla. So I was like, okay. I was like, good. That's a nice little attention to detail. I'm on board with that. There's another bag clip line that just got released.
I heard about that.
Yes, and it's starting to show up places. So, just when I thought I was done, they pulled me back in.
The heat is on.
Yeah, this line looks all right. Doesn't look as good as past lines, but the chase figure is Godzilla holding the Hedorah balls or eyes.
Nice.
So I was like, all right, that's pretty sick.
Yep, you're over that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get the whole set. I'm gonna get the whole set. So they just gotta start being around here. So I'm gonna have to start hunting for those.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on a fig vacation the past 2 weeks. I've not gone on a hunt. So I haven't done any. Like,
just taking it easy.
Anything. Yeah, take it real easy.
It's the summer months. It's pickleball season.
Yeah, the last time I went out for figures was before the last episode when I got the whatchamacallit there, the Kong.
Oh, the Kong
Skull Island.
Yeah,
that was the last thing I got. So
yeah, I have a lot of stuff slowly arriving in the mail. But I do have a purchase for this week when we get to it later. But
cool. Also
earlier today, I saw that the Bandai movie monster series of the final form of Jet Jaguar from Singular Point and Salunga got released, or about to be released. I don't know. It wasn't listed in the Hobby Link Japan as a pre-order. It said June release, but it didn't say they were available right this second.
Okay. So I wouldn't mind a Salunga figure.
Well, I placed my order, but obviously I haven't shipped them yet. So if you're interested, then you can jump on my order and
oh my,
so because it's whenever I put a Hobby Link Japan order in, it's like I like to do DHL shipping.
Yep.
Which it goes up like every figure you add, but it's like they have so many Bandai figures that are so cheap that I got I got to make this like kind of worthwhile.
Yeah.
And then you get that box just filled with Bandai figures, and this is sick.
That's right. Yeah.
They do a really good job packaging them too. I like they will take all your figures and they'll basically just saran wrap them down to a flat piece of cardboard so they don't bounce around.
Oh yeah.
It's a really They do some. The only problem is like they might like it might catch like one of the tags and bend it a little bit, but
Gotcha,
but I rip most of the tags off anyway. So I'm one of those types.
Yeah,
It's the Bandai equivalent of letting him breathe.
Yeah.
You rip the tag off, but yeah. I mean, I'm pumped to get more singular point figures because like I have them all on a shelf right now, the entire line, and like. They're all so like fucking colorful and like wild looking. It's like they look awesome together, like on a shelf as like one big collection.
Yeah, that's one good thing about Singular Point that I liked was like everything looked fantastic.
Yeah,
all the designs were really good.
The Ultima design is like quickly becoming like one of my top favorite Godzilla designs.
It's a very good one.
He's got like a weird like mohawk thing going on, or I don't know what you call it, like the top of his head, like the way like the way his like plates kind of start at the top of his head. Is like he's almost got a kind of fucking mohawk going on.
He's got a mohawk and he's like a vampire too.
Yeah, he's got those weird tusks going on.
Yeah.
Godzilla Battle Line has taught me that Godzilla Ultima kills everything, including Godzilla Earth. That's what that mobile game has taught me.
I'll agree with that.
Unless you have Godzilla 89 at really, really high levels, then Godzilla 89 kills everything and he just punches them to death. It's quite the time. You got to get into it. But
I did get a new phone and like I could. I just don't have the time. I'm still playing Elden Ring.
I understand. I hear you.
That game is just too good for me to put. Like I can't not play it.
Oh yeah, there's also 3 Godzilla games in the works. I guess we did have a lot of like random news to cover.
I did hear about the remaster of Saves the World.
Oh, that's a fan project.
Oh, I don't know if that's what you were.
No. So there's 3 official games. I think they're all part of the Legendary universe.
Okay.
And so there's not a lot known about them. It sounds like 2 of them to me kind of struck me as like mobile games. Like one sounds like a mobile like online.
That's what I don't want. I
game,
want a console game.
But one of them one of them everyone's thinking or speculating that it's going to be a console game because it's, and I don't recall the developer's name because this is like off the top of my head. But the developer has made a lot of console games for the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
And they say it's going to be a 2.5D game. So everyone is speculating that it's going to be some sort of console game. I don't know if it's going to be like a side-scrolling beat 'em up or some shit, or I don't know.
If it's 2.5D, it's most likely like a side-scrolling fight beat 'em. There's like another game that
Dawn of the Monsters.
Yeah,
I think it is.
It'd be probably something similar to that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Or maybe it's going to be like the old like King of the Monsters fighting game that was on like the Neo Geo, TurboGrafx and the Super Nintendo.
Yep,
could be something like that.
What really needs to happen is a full 3D, just AAA.
Yeah, everyone just avoids the obvious. It's just
I don't get why they don't capitalize on the property that way.
Or, yeah, I don't get it. I don't I just don't understand.
Like they probably like saw what happened with the 2014 PlayStation only game and we're like, we give up. But like, don't get sucked into the exclusivity deal. Like, make sure it's available for Switch, for Xbox, for PC, on Steam or whatever, and for PlayStation. And that way you can get it to the hey, put it on the Intellivision Amiga.
It's like, and as one who is legitimately very much a fan of Godzilla Battle Line, still at the end of the day, it's a mobile gacha game that has like an end date on it at some point. And it's like wild to me that in the grand scheme of Godzilla games, when you kind of put all like the Saves the Earth, Melee, Unleash games together in like one bucket, like legitimately one of the best Godzilla games is a mobile gacha game that's out right now. Like, there needs to be just better Godzilla games. I just don't get it. There's so many of them, and they're so bad, so many of them.
Like, the Call of Duty thing that just happened proved that it can work on like a console game if you do it right. Like, you make them like as big as they really are. You put them like, make it so you could be a person, one of the monsters. It could be like a multi style game where like you're a person trying to like escape the city, you're the monster trying to destroy the city, you're a monster fighting another monster. Like, there's so much you could do with it. Just do it, man.
Yeah. I just don't get it. It seems so obvious, but only Atari and Pipeworks understood what you had to do. Like,
and that was just like scratching the surface. There's so much more you could do, but like,
of course. Yeah. And I think as we covered in great detail in our episode, they were up a lot of budget restraints and time constraints. So, but yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, I do like the original, the very first Nintendo Godzilla game, Monster of Monsters.
Yep, I remember that.
It's a little repetitive, but it's okay.
They're certainly way worse than Nintendo games.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do like the TurboGrafx and the the Super Famicom fighting game.
Yep,
it's like the Street Fighter clone. I like that.
I play those. They work fine.
Yeah. Then we got Super Godzilla, which is shit.
That is shit. But one of the cool things about those games is that like when the monsters fight each other, they fight each other in like the style of like
the TurboGrafx one they do.
Yeah, that's the one I've been playing.
Yeah.
They fight themselves in the style of the movies they fought each other in.
Yeah.
So like if Godzilla 54 wouldn't fight King Ghidorah, it'd be 64 that would fight him or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I always like that little attention to detail for that version of the game.
The Super Nintendo one doesn't do that, but everyone's got like 3 or 4 more moves. So it's like it's a trade off. But that game's a lot of fun. It's a really good Street Fighter clone.
Yep.
Just needs a little bit more depth. It doesn't really have like a story mode or much anything to it, but it's just got a pretty standard versus mode. But
yeah, it was a sort of primitive fighter for consoles.
Yeah, it's fun though. Well, we got a lot more of that segment than I expected.
That's what we call milking that.
Oh, it wasn't even milking. It was just natural flow. And that wasn't even planned.
It was not planned at all. That's sort of our free-form introduction. So without further ado, let's get into it. Clash of the Titans 2010.
Yes.
First time you saw this movie?
Yes.
Wow.
I barely even kind of, I mean, I knew it existed. I'll tell you this. I did not know there was a sequel to this movie.
There is a sequel.
And there was going to be a third one. I also read it, but they just said, no. We're going to get out of this one, buddy.
Okay. Makes sense. I don't know if they could bring back that cast.
The cast was not the problem. Making money was the problem.
Okay.
Also, enough. I didn't know this was like a legendary movie, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yep.
Maybe this is like somehow in the Godzilla Monsterverse canon.
So before you set the table, do you remember the marketing that went into this movie at all?
Not really.
Okay. So here's my experience with that. I went to New York City like a couple weeks before it came out, and on the side of one of the buildings, this is like a random building, I think in like Brooklyn, pretty like probably 10-story building or so, there was like the poster of this movie on the back of it. So like the Kraken looked huge, and like it was like I forget the guy's name, Perseus riding Pegasus on it. And I'm just like, that is a very cool way to market this movie. And then I have no idea how it did. I don't remember, but I remember seeing it in theaters.
So I didn't write down the exact totals, but like it had a budget of like about like just like under 200 million, and it made like almost like double that.
Okay.
So basically, it probably just like, so the rule of thumb is you double the budget, like because the film's budget, you assume that like they pay the same amount for marketing, if not more. And so like if a movie does double its like film budget, it probably breaks even or maybe makes a little bit of money.
Okay.
So this probably made just like a little bit of money. That's
enough to make a sequel.
Yeah, enough to make a sequel. I think it was which what I read was so this movie had a budget just under $200 million bucks and had a box office of like 430, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then the sequel was like over $200 million or maybe like a little bit less than that, and had a box office of $300 million.
Okay.
So they were just like, well, time to cut loose on this one.
Yep.
But I don't have much to set the table here. I don't know. These, like I was saying to you offline, like it was like these like big Hollywood movies, like these like kind of like, I think Godzilla and Pacific Rim are a little bit different. This just kind of feels like a kind of cash-in blockbuster movie. Like they don't have like much history to them.
This is during the time when they were really ramping up the remakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the Judge Dredd was in production. The RoboCop had just recently come out, I think. The Total Recall one. Like there was all these remakes, and this was really the only one that I was like super interested in. I used to watch the original when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I love that movie, but so this one I was like excited for. I was like, cool, like a modern take on that. Like it'll look awesome. Like the Kraken will incredible. Like,
Yes.
I was really looking forward to it.
Yes. Yeah, all right. I'll get these like little details out of the way, and then we'll dive into that. So, development started back in like the first idea of developing Clash of the Titans for like a remake was back in 2002. And again, when I talk about like the background stories, like not very interesting, it's pretty much this person wrote a script, 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 this person wrote a script. Ultimately, we just come to a script that we settle on, and we'll kind of like rewrite it, and then we'll start production on the movie. Not very exciting history. But Sam Worthington, Perseus, did not wear sandals while filming. He instead painting toes on his sports shoes so he could perform his stunts better.
Okay.
Wow. And there was a shitty video tie-in video game, which I watched gameplay footage of today. And oh boy, does it look fucking bad.
I never knew the video game
I
existed.
didn't know the video game was...
I will watch that later.
PS3 and Xbox 360, I just watched a couple gameplay clips.
Okay.
It's like, it looks like a borderline functional hack and slash game.
Okay.
It's like, it looks like you just got to kind of tap attack the whole way through. But like the enemies that are like, that I watched in gameplay footage, like, it's like they just like kind of stand there and he's like, get their ass kicked. And then like I jumped to the end. I was like, all right, what's like the ending look like? The Kraken like looks like more like a giant like jacked up mutant rather than like, I mean, kind of resembles how it looked in the movie, but like, I don't know. He's got like weird neon glowing shit going on. And then like you fight Zeus at the very end. Zeus is totally a little bit different in the ending. He's like, all right, asshole, fight me.
Was it the whole point of this story to like a son and father who didn't know each other, and the father is the god who expects everyone to pray to him and love him?
Maybe
like,
I'm missing something.
Like, was it the whole moral of that story for them to come together and like Perseus already had like his like father who raised him, but now he like knows his real dad, and like they're getting into like they weren't enemies. Like why are they fighting?
Yeah. Maybe I missed something in the video game, but also it's like the people that were doing the voice acting for like Zeus and Perseus, like it's like these like two like English guys like trying to do like it. When I was like, oh, they're trying to do like a really dramatic performance, and it made me chuckle a little bit. So I was like watching it.
I'll have to check that out. Never knew this game existed. Never
Me neither.
So
me
awesome.
neither. There's like part of me that wants to like start collecting really shitty like PS2, Xbox, and forward video game tie-ins.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I like that era of gaming is sort of like almost like our generation's golden age.
Yeah.
Like even though like going back, you play those games like, oh, this looks like shit now. Back then, it looked incredible to us.
Yeah.
So like I remember buying like lots of games, just being like, yeah, I'll buy like a box of 30 Xbox games for $20. Sure, why not? Yeah. I want like there's like some like Buffy like PS2 360 games like that have like the actual cast doing the voice acting, but the gameplay looks kind of like shit. Wow.
But it's like I want to get games like that. I kind of want to get like this shitty ass game. I want to get the Wolverine tie-in movie games, which I guess are actually supposed to be kind of decent.
All right.
But I want like a collection of shitty licensed tie-in games to movies.
Yeah, their licensed games usually aren't too great because they have to spend so much money on them, but like there are a few that are pretty decent.
King Kong one is better than the Peter Jackson movie.
I've played that game only a little bit, but I'll agree with you.
Yeah. Well.
Based on what I was like, but like I have to get that for 360. I think I have it for Xbox, but
oh yeah,
I really want it for 360. It looks so much better on 360.
Yeah. So so like kind of good for background. Oh yeah, Bubbo the owl from the original one makes a little how do you do?
Yeah, just a little cameo.
Yeah,
that's the weird thing about all these remakes, like the Ghostbusters one. Like they take all the original stuff and they give it a little cameo, but it's like it's the same but different.
But it's almost done like in a condescending way. Well, I can't speak for the Ghostbusters stuff, but I mean this movie was also like they're just going, oh, don't worry about that. It's like junk or whatever they say. And I was like, motherfucker, what?
But like I don't know if it's condescending. I almost feel like the filmmakers feel like it's a requirement, so they just put it in there.
Yeah,
but it's almost soulless.
Yeah, Yeah,
It's
exactly.
It's like, here you go, Marx.
It's Gojira, you moron.
Exactly.
It's the equivalent to that.
Yeah, it's the physical manifestation of that line.
Yeah. But I will say, 2010, it's not all the CGI looks good. Like the Scorpion's like a little hit or miss, and
Yes.
Medusa is fucking rough looking.
Yes.
But I will say overall, I was like, wow, we have not really improved too much in CGI in 2022 compared to 2010.
Rough around the edges, I'll agree with you. I think the Kraken looks really good.
Yes,
there's
agreed.
There's still scenes that look like, you could tell it's rough there, but like overall, I thought that was really good. That you could tell that's where all the money went.
Yeah.
Biggest disappointment for this movie for me, only one Kraken scene.
And it's quick.
And
It does not feel very long.
Barely get it.
Yeah.
That's, if you know anything about me, that's one of my pet peeves about movies. When you have a big monster, show the fucking thing. Do not like just keep it off to the side and then it's like, oh, here it is. All right, it's gone.
Yeah, it felt like an afterthought.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm looking at like my notes and it's like annoying like special effects things that are here. It's like the sword that Perseus wields. Like it's a fucking lightsaber with like lens flare on it. I was like, okay, this feels like wasn't like the Star Trek reboots kind of starting to happen like around then, or it's like everybody was like obsessed with like lens flare, like, and I was like, why is everything like, why is Liam Neeson so fucking shiny, like at all times? Like, why is it get lens flare kind of bursting off him? Like that was like a.
I think that was to make him more ethereal.
Yeah, but it's so annoying looking. But I mean, and overall, it looked. I feel like nobody in this movie gave a shit except for the dude who, oh my god, what's his name? Plays Hades.
Oh,
Isn't it Ralph?
Ralph Fiennes.
Yes. Like I feel like he was like the only dude in this movie who gave like half a shit about his performance.
So, on that topic, one of the things I was like, you know what? Making this movie must have been a blast for the guy who played Calibus and Hades, because like he was when they meet up in that like dungeon where he is, and they're standing across from each other, and Hades is giving Calibus his power, and they're just standing there with their mouths open, just like arms stretched out. I'm like, it probably took them 4 hours to film that scene just because they were probably cracking up. There you go.
No, was that on purpose?
There you go. Yep.
Nope, that was good.
Yep.
That was good.
Very funny. I almost used your government name there. I stopped myself. But like they're just standing across from each other, probably like a foot across from each other, just like mouths open, arms stretched, arms extended out, just like, and then it's all special effects added to like show like the smoke and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, but like they had to do that without all that. So there's no way they weren't like busting out laughing at how absurd it must have been.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. But yeah, now picturing that scene being filmed without special effects, I'm like, how awkward.
It's the first time I noticed that was this past time I watched it. And I was like,
and he does that to that queen at the beginning of the movie, where like he sucks the life out of her.
Yeah,
that's another one where they're just awkwardly staring at each other, mouths open.
He does make her kneel though.
He does, yeah, but then he kind of like hunches down with her too. Though,
yeah,
so still very awkward. Yeah, I thought Hades. The only one who gave he gave Hades like a little like weird limp and shuffle as he walks around. He's got like a little funny like little, oh Zeus, what's going on with you? And I was like, all right, you're trying.
Well, the whole thing with Hades is that like he was cast down, sort of betrayed by Zeus to the underworld to rule the underworld, and so like he doesn't get the amount of prayers that like Poseidon or Athena or all the other gods.
Lives off their fear.
Yeah, he lives off their fear, and that's why he's so like decrepit and doesn't have much power, and that's why he's that way. So as Zeus sort of starts losing his power, he gains it. So that's why throughout the movie is like at first he's all pale, but then he starts to get a little color going, and like progressively becomes stronger as Zeus becomes weaker. Yeah,
he did. I thought he did a good job. You know, Liam Neeson, I feel like he could have just walked off the set of Taken and just started filming this movie, and there was no difference in him.
Like, I think he was fine. There was nothing bad about what he did or anything did. Like, delivering release the Kraken line.
He got up for that.
Yeah. So I don't think there was anything wrong with what he did, but if he did, that's fine. Not going to debate an actor's performance in a popcorn movie.
Yeah, I agree. It just seemed like a paycheck movie for him.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at. It seemed like a paycheck movie for him. It feels like Seems like fine, tried a little bit. But I thought like overall it was like I don't know. There was like the writing for all the side characters in the movie, particularly like Zeus. Like Zeus is like kind of borderline asshole in a couple scenes. Then then suddenly he goes, "Yeah, so all right, Hades, why don't you go mess up the world?" But then he's like, "Oh, but man, you really gotta love, man. Just really gotta love, man." Yeah.
Well, they did include that in the narration. But Zeus loved man too much.
Yeah, it's just he just doesn't feel like conflicted enough. He's just kind of like, shit, man, we need these prayers. All right, Hades, go mess him up.
Yep.
And then like then you look at like the last 10 minutes of the movie, he's like release the Kraken. Then 10 minutes later, he's like hanging out with Perseus on Luke Skywalker's island from The Force Awakens, and he's like, oh, you gotta love them, Perseus. They're good people.
It does sort of follow the same arc though in the original.
Yeah, it's just the
whole logic
shift
behind it.
The shift is like just so extreme from scene to scene, and also lest we forget that Zeus did rape somebody to have a son, and nobody seems to really be bothered by
it. Was very Motley Crue of them.
It's just like, oh god, but it's just like just kind of like a glossed over detail, And I was like, this is fucked up. I was like, what is this?
It was definitely, and then the guy.
I mean, I know it's a story, but I mean, it's just nobody seems to give a shit in the movie.
Yeah. And then Calibus, who becomes Calibus, but I forget his name, what it was before that. That's his wife. So, Calibus, like, instead of this being like, what the fuck? Like, he like kills her and tries to kill Perseus, but since he's a demigod, he lives.
Yeah.
Like he does it by picking up the casket and casting it into the sea and gets struck by lightning while he's doing it. It's a pretty hilarious scene.
Yeah, like I was like, does he get deformed from the lightning?
No, it's a curse.
Oh, okay. Because he doesn't change instantly. He throws the casket in.
At least it was a curse in the original. It might have been the
I feel like it's not stated in this movie.
It might have been the lightning that was the catalyst for his changes, but he's all deformed. Like he has like horns and stuff. He's
right,
like,
yeah.
He's like got a hoof.
Yeah, he's got a hoof.
Claws and stuff, so.
Yeah.
But I always like the dynamic of Calibus in this movie because, skipping ahead, spoiler alert, once Perseus kills him, like the deformity wears off and he goes back to being his human self and he's like, don't become like them.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, he reminded me of, God, this is going to be such a random comparison, like the vibes this gave me. Did you ever like see like the Beowulf movie? Like the ones, like all like the weird CGI.
I actually very much enjoy that. For that reason, it's everything's just so like they have this great cast. They just CGI'd them all.
There was like when he attacks like the soldiers like in the forest. He like reminded me of Grendel in Beowulf. Like when he attacks like the where they're having like the party or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. For whatever reason, reminded of it. It's like just like that one random scene where the guy's like, "Help me, Perseus!" And he's like rips him in half, and I was like, "All right, that was fucking ridiculous."
You know the offshoot, the guy who voiced Grendel.
No,
the dad in the original Back to the Future.
Oh, Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Was that the cheapest option available, or one of the more expensive options available? That's kind of weird.
I don't think price mattered because I mean, like, they
have Angelina Jolie and everybody else is in that movie.
Why can't I think of his name? Anthony Hopkins.
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
Yeah.
John Malkovich.
God, what an ensemble cast.
What's her face?
Angelina Jolie plays the.
Robin Wright is the Queen.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
You have seen this movie a lot more than I have.
Yeah, I actually really like this movie. I think it's really good.
This movie being Beowulf, or
Beowulf?
Yes. Yeah, it's like back to this movie. It's like, yeah, it's all popcorn, all the characters you kind of came to know, they all kind of die in like 5 minutes towards the end of the movie.
And that does happen in the original too, but like there's way more focus on Perseus in the original. In this one, it's sort of more about the ensemble.
Yeah.
You have like Lashif. He's one of the ensemble guys.
Yes. I don't know his actual name, but he'll always be Lashif from Casino Royale.
He'll always be Lashif for me too. And then like just like a bunch of like randoms. Yeah, you get to know them a little bit, and just enough to care when Medusa kills them all.
Yeah, then they all die like super quick.
like first, Calibus takes out a bunch of red shirts, and then like the ones you kind of know get got by Medusa.
Yeah,
to make her look strong for when Perseus does her in.
And I will say that like I went back and I watched the original Medusa scene from the 81 one.
Isn't that awesome?
A million times. Like it's like I was like I remember going like I was looking at this and I was like. All right. It was like the scorpions are okay. They kind of have some scenes where it's like they look a little rough.
Them bigger.
Yeah, but for the CGI, I was like, they look all right. And like when I watched like the Medusa scene, I was like, this is rough looking CGI because I think it's more like the scorpions are like an animal. This is like Medusa's very humanoid, so it's like
Medusa kind of reminds me of Scorpion King.
Yeah, yes, it's like a smidge above that. And
it's
then
definitely
like,
a budget, yeah, for sure. But
and it's like, and you just go back and like you watch like that old stop motion Medusa, and like there's so much shadow in that scene too, and like Medusa looks so good, and yeah, this was like just kind of like a CGI uncanny valley like to the max, and just yeah,
we're on the same page.
Yeah, just looks rough.
The original. Just that scene alone in and of itself so much better.
Yeah.
Also, the original, you get a Kraken scene at the beginning of the movie to start things off, to show the destruction you could do.
That's right, yeah.
This movie was devoid of that. I don't know why. I could have really benefited from it, I think. You get Pegasus, and that's really good stuff for the most part. Pretty hard to screw up a horse, though, for CGI.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just has wings, so... Pegasus... They did really well, I thought. The story for this movie really got into that. So basically, Zeus fathers an illegitimate son who neither of them know about each other. There's a girl who's watching over Perseus because she's cursed by the gods with agelessness because she wouldn't take the advantages of one of the gods.
Poseidon, I think.
Was it? Yeah, I forget which one it is. Yeah. But not important. Because they never appear.
Once again, maybe you shouldn't be praying to these gods. They all sound like really fucking terrible people.
They're all speaking out subjects. Really,
they're just awful, fucking awful.
Yeah. So she's like cursed with like agelessness, where all her family and friends are now dead, and she still looks the same. Perseus also a demigod, so he like. Doesn't understand his strength, doesn't understand his power, doesn't understand his role in the world. He's like discovered by a fisherman who raises him as his own. And then
they're all killed.
Hades, it was Hades. Yeah, it was Hades who attacks a ship and has them all killed because he discovers Perseus, Zeus's son. So basically the theme of this movie is Hades is trying to take over Mount Olympus and get back at Zeus, and he's doing so through trying to attack Perseus, who Zeus doesn't really care about or know about until later in the movie. And so as people stop praying, Zeus starts losing his power, and so Zeus gives whatever the city's name through Hades an ultimatum.
Argos,
thank you. You can either sacrifice the beautiful princess, who the queen was talking about being more beautiful than Athena, or your city can be destroyed by the Kraken. You have 5 days.
Here's the one that's more beautiful than Athena. We will not show any close-ups of Athena in this movie. Just use
your imagination.
Use your imagination.
It's like reading a book.
Yeah.
So
you'll see them standing in the background when they're having the little summits of Mount Olympus. But like I think like Apollo gets like one line in the movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, and nobody else gets a line. Nobody else even gets like a close-up shot. So all these gods, no reveals for any of them. I don't know. Everyone, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so the king like finds out that Perseus is demigod and he can possibly save the city without sacrificing his daughter. So he's like, okay, we're going to send you to these witches who will tell you how to do it. And the witches were all weird, like
I like the
holding an eye
witches.
thing.
Oh, the witches were cool.
Yeah, they're just very weird, and they have one eye that they all share between them.
Yeah.
So that's basically their weakness. They tell them that Medusa can defeat the Kraken because anything she glares at, or anything that glares in her face, will be turned to stone. Anything made of flesh. So since the Kraken was made of flesh from Hades, then that will defeat him. So they go on a quest to get there. Calibus is like sort of like the henchman that Hades hires. He's like his goon, and he's trying to kill Perseus. Fails. They take the boat across the river Styx,
Which is probably the most visually impressive part of the movie to me. I thought everything with the boat and like the reapers and shit like on the boat, I was like, all right, that's really cool looking.
That's
I like
because
that.
fog is power.
Yeah, but it looks cool, and it's like like a cool little skeleton ferryman guy.
That's a
going on.
Legend of Neil reference. I don't know if any listeners.
Didn't get that.
But yeah, you wouldn't.
But I thought that was a visually cool part of the movie. I remember looking at that going like, oh, that's
Because they have like
cool.
They have like weird mermaids like steering the ship under the water. You could kind of get a little peek of them, like pulling up, and then they go back under.
Yeah.
So they take the river Styx. Perseus kills Medusa, but everyone else is dead.
Nobody cares.
Except the people who stayed with the Scorpion. They lived, like the weird vagabond they had there.
Oh, yeah.
Who was like, I'll go with you.
We gloss right over them in the summary because they're inconsequential.
They're inconsequential. So they get back to Argos just in time as the Kraken is released because there's been no blood sacrifice. So they release the Kraken and they get back just in time. Perseus holds up Medusa's head. There's a big chase with a bunch of weird little demon things because Perseus
gotta
drops
have some
Medusa.
tension.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they get it back. Perseus stops it just in time, turns it to stone, crumbles. More stuff kind of happens, but whatever. Credits.
Yeah. Zeus, who is well established bad person, goes, "Oh, you gotta love man," even though I just spent an entire movie doing horrible things to them.
So I should say this: the reason why Zeus does what he does to Calibus is because Calibus is leading a revolt against him and all the gods, and so that night Zeus impersonates Calibus, goes and defiles her, and as Calibus finds her, like leaving, like Zeus sort of transforms back into himself in front of his face, and then pieces out.
Yes, Zeus is awful.
Zeus is awful.
Awful. Like that's fucking terrible, and that's like glossed. Like I mean, I don't know. It's just like it's like I look at that and go like, well, maybe you shouldn't be praying to these assholes.
It was very petty.
You know, like you should not be praying to these assholes. Like these are bad people.
That's why they're gone now.
Yes, good. Fucking good riddance. But yeah, it's like getting back to like some of the things like you kind of recapped. Like what I liked in the original movie is the Kraken looked like the Ymir from one of like Ray Harryhausen's like really old movies. And I thought this one looked like Orga.
Yeah. I never thought of that. Yeah.
He had like the Orga face going on.
He had the Orga face. You were dead on.
And I was like, all right. This is what a legendary Orga could look. That's all I thought. I was like, this is the beginnings of a legendary Orga right here. Maybe that's how you tie it to the MonsterVerse. The original Kraken was Orga. Then somehow in the future he gets jacked up by aliens. I don't know. There's the bones of something here. I'm onto something here.
You're onto something.
Yeah.
We got to flesh this one out. For me, the Kraken in the original always just looked like the creature from the Black Lagoon and or Amazon from NES Pro Wrestling.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's very Ray Harryhausen. It's like his like classic kind of creature design.
For me, I thought this Kraken design was better. That was like one of the things that I will say about this movie that had over the original was that it was a better Kraken design.
I think I like this one better because in my head I was like, it's fucking Orga.
That's not to say like I dislike the original. I just think that it wasn't as terrifying as it could be. If this one showed up and the other one showed up, you'd be way more terrified of this one.
Yes. So now in my headcanon, in a future MonsterVerse movie, when the Millennium aliens come to Earth, when they do their Organizer G1 thing where they take like some samples from Godzilla, instead of just like kind of pooping out Orga like they do in Godzilla 2000, they're like, well, we need like a place to put all these Godzilla cells, and they find the old broken stone of the Kraken, and they combine the two, and that's how we get MonsterVerse Orga. There you go. There's my fanfic.
There you go.
On the spot.
You've heard it here first.
Everyone's talking about like, oh, is Destroyer going to be in a future MonsterVerse movie? But it's going to randomly be Orga.
I would like it to be Orga and or the Kraken. This is sort of like your version of me saying like the giant octopus is like from War of the Gargantuas or whatchamacallit.
Yeah, well, Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Frankenstein Conquers the World, that's what it's from.
It's in both movies.
Yeah, okay. Like and then, Kong Skull Island eats that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's your version of that story for me.
Yeah, although Godzilla would plow right through this the legendary Godzilla, any Godzilla would plow right through the Kraken in this movie in like 2 seconds, I kind of feel like. But I don't think it would be much of a threat. I think it'd be a little warm-up match for whatever Godzilla's got on his plate later in the day.
Well, Godzilla has way more powers.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Kraken. The Kraken is just sort of like a mindless beast.
Yeah, with tentacles.
With a lot of it has a lot of tentacles, but like
tentacles, yep.
No real powers other than like, it's not a caster. It's a physical damage guy.
Yes. That's I played enough Dark Souls to get that.
Godzilla is a caster, and the Kraken is a quality build.
Yeah,
or maybe strength.
Well, what else is there about this movie? Is there much else about this movie? I don't know if I like kind of said it. I was like, I just feel like everyone dies and nobody seems to care.
I like how this is the partial reunion of the cast from Schindler's List.
That's true.
Hence the intro.
I didn't put that together at first. But when I said phoning it in or taking the paycheck, I think just comparing Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes to comparing them to that movie to this movie is
night and day.
Yes.
I mean, Schindler's List is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yes.
Whereas this is like just like sort of like a fun little action movie.
It's there. Yeah. Yeah. Is it fun? Let's rank it.
Okay.
Unless you had more to say on it.
Nah.
Yes.
1 to 5. Man Inventors a 5. Jobbers a 1. Various degrees of mid card. I think you went first last time, so should I go first?
Sure.
I'm gonna give this one a 3. I think there's enough good in this movie to justify it. There's certainly not it's certainly not a great movie or even like a upper tier good movie. It's more of just like a middle of the road type of soulless remake from 2010.
Yeah.
The reason I'm giving it a 3 is like I'm sort of bonded to the subject matter and the original movie. As a partially Greek boy, I like movies about Greek mythology. I wish there were more. There's not a lot. Cool monsters: Medusa, the scorpions, Calibus, the Kraken. The hilarious Ralph Fiennes scene where he's got his mouth open with Calibus, and the little owl,
owl cameo,
the nod at the beginning,
which apparently is also in the sequel, Wrath of the Titans.
Yep.
Apparently,
yep. And we won't go into that too much, though.
Wait, have you seen Wrath of the Titans?
Yes.
The sequel to this?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Never saw it in theaters. I saw this in Clash of the Titans in theaters.
Okay.
That one I was kind of whatever. I can miss that one.
Is Wrath of the Titans good?
So yeah, this is a 3 for me. I won't say I won't give it my rubber stamp of approval, but I will say if you like Greek mythology and you've seen the original and you want to see an updated version, see this. It's just sort of like a less good version of that, with a lot cut out.
Yeah, I'm firmly in 2 territory.
Mm-hmm.
Just Yeah, it's a popcorn movie, but I didn't think like the action sequences were like enough to like the action sequences aren't exciting enough.
Okay.
You know, the Kraken one is like starts to get there, but like we said, it's too short.
Yeah.
You know, it's like other than that, you're kind of like the Medusa one. I was just too distracted by the bad CGI, and like the Scorpion ones are okay, but like. But then, like, I was like watching it, going, like, I was like, oh, remember, like, in that first Transformers movie where like Scorponok is like, you know, chasing them, and they have that battle scene in the desert. I was like, that was a lot cooler. You know, it's like, so it was like that was like kind of like my thought process, and I was like, all right, I was like, it's a popcorn movie, like. But then I was like, somebody. Wish I was like watching like Rampage or something instead. Like, so that's
one thing I forgot to mention that's a positive about this movie. Just not to interrupt, but. Good tracking shots.
Okay, sure.
This, you know, when you montage all the walking that's involved in these sort of quests, like, you know, good tracking shots make that, you sort of deliver that message really well. And I think this movie had those.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a 2. Highlights for me were the brief Kraken scenes we got. I thought the ferryman's journey was cool.
Yep.
And I thought Ralph Fiennes' Hades was fine.
Okay.
I thought he was fine. I thought he was a little bit of a highlight to me.
Yeah.
But
so really good cast that you could tell that, you know, they've worked with better materials before.
Yeah, it's like funny because like often like you hear people like when they're like kind of jokingly talking about like a bad movie, like they go like, "Oh, it's no Schindler's List," and like this is like literally has a significant chunk of the cast from Schindler's List, and it's like so there's no excuse. Like, it's just
very good. That's a good point.
So I don't know what to tell you. It's just, it is what it is. But
so yeah, I would say I recommend it. It's one of those movies that you're probably just going to watch once and say, okay, I've seen it, and then move on with your life. Like, I don't know if there's any like huge like following for this movie or whatever.
Yeah,
but.
it's not. Yeah, I don't think there's any diehard 2010 Clash fans out there. You know, I don't think there's like a convention out there.
I was surprised this one got outvoted over the 81 version. I was expecting the 81 to be first or second.
Maybe that's a little recency bias. Okay. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Or maybe people are like, oh, that one sucks. Let's hear him talk about it.
Maybe. Some of the special effects in that movie do suck. So
so it was yeah. I just hope we never have to do Wrath of the Titans. So.
Maybe in a few years if we're still doing this.
Maybe on the 1 year anniversary of this episode, we'll do Wrath of the Titans.
Okay. I'm down for that. Yeah, but all right.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Hey, you got any figs?
I did you?
No.
Oh.
It's too bad because last episode I made such an effort, and this time I just didn't have it in me.
Listen, it doesn't you don't gotta buy stuff all the time. Bless you.
Big sneeze.
Bless you.
Big sneeze. All of a sudden, as soon as I hit record, my sinus is just like, "Hey, what's up?"
No, it's high pollen count this year.
Yeah.
So I only got one thing, but it's kind of a little bit. Or yeah, I'll have more by next episode. But one thing came this week, and it's kind of interesting. It's a little Godzilla, kind of like water squirt figure thing. It's like one of those. What do you call those things when you dip them in water?
And you get the little mouth thing and it's squirt the water out.
Yeah, but it's like it's a full body Godzilla.
Oh, really?
It's a full body with like a little hole in the mouth. I mean, it's not that big. It's like fist like in the palm of your hand.
Okay.
Because it is I think it's from 1991. It's a White Castle promotional figure. Yeah. So there was in the early 90s when no Godzilla movies are getting released in America, White Castle did a Godzilla promotion, and it's like a lot of cups and some frisbees and stuff like that. And there's like this like little squirty Godzilla thing. So yeah, saw one for a good price in Macari, and I snagged it. And I'm like, do I have to go complete the White Castle collection now, like I did the Taco Bell ones?
The Carl's Jr. one.
Yeah, the Carl's Jr. one, which that is still a few pieces of that are still eluding me. The Taco Bell one's complete, but the Carl's Jr. one is it's very elusive. But that Zilla Jr. figure from Carl's Jr. is has really like shot up in price. Like I got it for like, I don't know, $20-$30, and it's like now it's like, I mean, it's the only officially released figure of Godzilla Jr. from the animated
Cartoon,
series, and like I've seen some like listings on go for like over like $100 for that thing.
Jeez.
And I also learned there's like a variant to the figures, which the only variant is like because Carl's Jr. also owns Hardee's. Like, so there is a variant technically where it's either stamped with Carl's Jr. or it's stamped with Hardee's. Other than that, they are the same.
Which do you prefer?
Mine is stamped with Carl's Jr. So, I mean, I've never been to a Carl's Jr. or a Hardee's, I don't think, in my life. I don't think.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I'm with the Hardys.
Ayo.
This is not a visual podcast, so you don't get that.
At the time of this recording, one of those Hardys in a little bit of trouble.
Yep.
But yeah. So I don't have a preference, but now part of me is like, it was like, what if I got every piece of the collection, and then I looked at like the stamps, and I was like, oh man, half of them say Carl's Jr. and the other half say Hardee's. Like, this is like some like Matt Cardona level bullshit. Like, would I be bothered with that? No,
What
the
do I
answer
do?
is
Do
no.
I open it up? Do I let it breathe?
The answer is no. The answer is no. I would not be bothered with that. So,
On that subject, did you watch him get the No Noose New Jack signed?
I did not.
Well, there's a video of him getting that No Noose New Jack figure, got it signed, and he was trying to rub it in Myra's face. He's like, I already have it, dude. And then Cardona's like, oh, I only got this to rub it in your face. What do I do now? Do I let it breathe? I'm like, you have an autographed New Jack figure. There's probably 2 in the world. They're like, no!
That must have been a while ago.
No, it's very new.
But I mean, New Jack's been dead for a while.
Oh, yeah, he didn't just sign it. He,
Yeah, right.
See, when he was alive.
Yes, I know. But it's like, I'm saying he must have got it signed like some time ago.
Yeah.
Oh, but the video's newer?
It was just like one of those whatnot purchase things.
Oh, okay.
It was the purchase of the week.
Okay. Oh, so Cardona didn't have it signed. He bought a signed one on whatnot.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I understand now. The story makes a lot more sense to me. And I was like, Cardona got the sign like 6-7 months ago and just sat on that for like a while.
It was just done to make Myers like jealous, and Myers was like, I already have it. There's a whole documentary about it.
Yeah, it's true. You don't listen to Extreme Conversations.
Is that your only purchase?
It's my only purchase for this week.
All right. Well, I didn't get anything last time. I went to several Targets, made several trips, wound up with a pretty decent haul, but and a fun little story of a guy who was like, yeah. I tried to talk to him about the Playmates diorama. But yeah, nothing this week. I'll make more of an effort in the coming weeks. Maybe I'll get something decent. Just been not really feeling the fig hunt lately. I've been sort of a homebody.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah. I'll try again. I'll try to get something for the next time.
So I think we'll probably do a poll to try to figure out what our next 3 episodes would be, because that seems to work out well. One thing I will float here, I guess, just into the ether of the podcast, just to kind of wrap things up. So there's a lot of talk about, G-Fest is coming up in July. I don't intend to go into G-Fest. But in September, there is another Kaiju Convention put on by Days of the Dead, which I think does a lot of big like horror conventions, but now they're doing a Kaiju one.
Okay.
And I assume Power Rangers related. They do have Power Rangers in the banner. But it's in Indiana. I'm like, should I go to this in September?
Probably cheap flights.
Probably. But it's like they got the dude who plays, from what I'm gathering from the banners without researching this, they got the dude who plays Kiryu and Monster X or Kaiser Ghidorah from Final Wars, Linda Miller from King Kong Escapes, Hurricane Ryu, who's played a bunch of kaiju in the 90s. He played the Batralava, he played King Ghidorah, he played the Godzillasaurus. They got the dude who played. Oh, they got the woman who was oh god, what's her name? Akane. The woman who's connected to Gamera in the 90s movies.
Oh, okay.
Asagi. There we go. So it was like, that's a kind of like legit. It's kind of like a legit lineup there of like suit actors and stuff. And I was like, thinking maybe this is like the Major Pod influence. I was like, okay, if I go, it's $80 for the weekend, which is Friday through Sunday for all the events. And I was like, trading cards and shit like that are big now. And it's like, I got like all sorts of like these like Godzilla trading cards. I was like, what if I brought trading cards and had them sign the cards of like the characters they played? That'd be kind of sick. I don't know. My wheels are spinning a little bit.
I think you got something cooking there.
Yeah, I mean, do I want to go to Indiana by myself? But
I'll go with you.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. We can look into.
I'll split the hotel cost with you.
We can talk shop offline here about this.
All right.
I haven't decided if I want to like commit to this plan, but I was like, oh, I just saw this like the other day, and I was like, oh, it's like nice like little G Fest alternative. And because I would ultimately go to G Fest, but there's some issues around it that need to be hashed out a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
I think the pandemic was a tough time for all of us.
Yes, apparently tougher for some more than others in terms of their logic.
I just mean in terms of like G Fest and
yes, and I meant
like G-Fan.
I meant JD Lee's and his logic.
Yeah,
around said festival. So,
yeah.
But that's
maybe as the years
we all
have gone
fall
by,
down sometimes.
That's what I mean. Maybe as the years have gone by, maybe the hard feelings have lessened, and we can all just sort of come back together. And
maybe we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, only time will tell.
But I do like alternatives. I do like there being alternatives. So
yeah.
So there you go. A little something to wrap this up with.
Cool. So that'll do it for this episode. I thought this was a pretty decent one. I like the subject matter. It was a fun conversation. Good news. Keep an eye out on the poll at Odo Island Pod on Twitter. Got anything you want to leave the audience with?
Celtics in 7 or better luck next year?
Series is over.